All right, welcome everybody to Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to bring you some live coverage of the tech sell-off caused by surprise advances in the Chinese AI program DeepSeek. Wow, AI model DeepSeek. Sorry, I would have liked to have come a little bit earlier today to cover this, but I wasn't able to, but we're covering it right now. So we're going to talk about it as an example of the tech sell-off. Let me show you here. Nvidia, which is one of the most valuable companies in the world, I believe. Look what happened on Yahoo Finance to Nvidia yesterday. Down, I'm going to make it the 5-day chart. There's the 5-day chart from Yahoo Finance for Nvidia. It lost 17%. It was down 16.97%. I believe its market cap dropped by about roughly $600 billion. Do I have that right? Because the market cap is $2.9 trillion. Yeah, about $600 billion was lost. And Nvidia makes chips that are used by prominent AI companies. But we'll talk about why the advances in DeepSeek are making some investors think, well, maybe not as much money is going to be spent on AI as we thought. The basic story here is at the most basic level is this Chinese AI model. Apparently, it functions. It's very competitive in terms of how it functions. It functions pretty competitively with the major American AI models like OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's and Anthropic's. Anthropics? I have to look that up. Anthropic. It functions. This DeepSeek AI functions very competitively with the more well-known AI models, but supposedly it cost way less to develop it. Way less to develop it. So are we going to see much less money than was anticipated spent by AI companies? Is there going to be a lot more competition among AI companies? Because if you don't have to spend that much money, as you thought, to develop a good AI model, well, there could be more competition. So this could be a big change, a huge change in this industry, huge financial story. I mean, huge story about the industry, but also, you know, you've had these various companies, various big tech companies like Google and OpenAI and Microsoft and Meta putting billions and billions of dollars into AI. Is this going to upend the AI world? Does it mean that the US does not have the supremacy in AI that was thought? It's a whole other question. So we want to talk about this. And give me 1 second here. And we're going to take some of your comments and questions on the air. At Lookner on X. But tech sell-off today, not just among Nvidia, but a number of other companies that are related to AI. Energy companies that supply energy to AI companies, equipment companies whose equipment is used for AI models and running them, all kinds of things. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it here. And but before we get into it, you can see here tech stocks tank as a Chinese competitor threatens to upend the AI frenzy. Nvidia sinks nearly 17%, $600 billion. I got to read some of your comments here. Let me first thank our moderators who are here. I really appreciate it. Cynthia Moon is over there. Keisha Fowler as well over on YouTube. Thanks for being here. Oops, you know what I got to do real quick? Hang on. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Where is the other thing I need here? There we go. There's that. Thanks to our Twitch moderators as well. We have... I got that fire and Surly Dev are moderating over there. Thank you. Linda Belk and Larry moderate for us on X. Thank you so much. Tom Accord says, it's going to change my portfolio. That's what our viewer just said. Kay Lowry Body is moderating. Thanks, Kay. Over there on Facebook. All right. Hang on a moment. Give me 1 second here. That's all good. Just fix this. Just fix this. All right. Joel PM says, my Nvidia shares are still up 530%. Critter Raw says, I think Vertiv dropped 30%. I'm not even aware of them. Vertiv dropped about 30%. What is Vertiv? Vertiv Holdings Company. I'll show you that in a second. They are a data center and services company. They are a data center and services company. Which I believe from the article I'm looking at is tied with AI, tied into AI. So, or associated with AI. Vertiv Holdings Company, minus 30%. We'll talk about some of the other stocks that got, this was 30, the market is closed in the US right now. You can see the after hours price right here, up 1.86%. But yeah, they are a digital infrastructure and continuity solutions company. All right. Progressively Independent says China is very smart. By the way, a lot of people, you can download the DeepSeek AI app. I just downloaded it a couple hours ago. I hadn't tried it out. If you use like ChatGPT or one of these other chatbots, like I think Gemini is one, or Perplexity, kind of looks similar to that. You can talk to it like you talk to a human, and it gives you answers. It's not identical, but I was using it in a similar way to ask it questions I would ask ChatGPT. So it's on the iOS App Store. Is it on Google Play? I don't even know. I assume it is. I think it is. I didn't look. Google Play Store DeepSeek. Let me just look it up. But yeah, it is. DeepSeek AI Assistant. So you can try it out as well. Tommy G says it creates great lesson plan for teachers. Jimmy ZNJ says, I do much research with ChatGPT. All right, let's talk. I'm going to take some more comments from you. I want to get into this for people who haven't been following the story. It might seem a little bit of an, for people who've been following it, they know what's going on, but a lot of people might not really understand the basic idea of the story. Carlos Rosa, thank you, Carlos, who says, I think I heard the Chinese AI program model cost around $5 million to develop. Yeah, that's the number I've seen floating around. Now there's questions on. There's some questions, some people raise questions about the accuracy of that number. But again, the basic idea here is that a Chinese company created an AI model which performs competitively with the prominent American models, but it cost supposedly way less to develop, way less. And so we're going to talk about this. Thanks, by the way, to Interactive for the gift membership, and Joe Brown and Yo-Yo and Progressively Independent, our new member. All right, we're going to take some more comments, but we'll talk about some of the stocks that are up and down. But let's. Our viewer Mort says it's supposed to be as good as any of them. Let's talk a little bit about this. So you can see Associated Press says, I want to show you this. Tech stocks tank as Chinese competitor threatens to upend the AI frenzy. Nvidia sinks nearly 17%. Again, Nvidia Corporation, are they the most valuable company in the world? They are one of them. I think before yesterday, they might have been the top one. According to Wikipedia, where is this here? That's kind of a little old. They're definitely one of the top ones. Companiesmarketcap.com says Nvidia is now 3 as of today. Yeah, our viewer, one of our viewers, not summiting, says they're number 3 now, but behind Apple and Microsoft. But this is, one of the most valuable companies in the world. May have been the most valuable before yesterday, and it lost just about 17% in one day. Okay, so let's talk about this. Tech stocks tank as a Chinese competitor threatens to upend the AI frenzy. Nvidia sinks nearly 17%. Oh, and another part of this story, which is important, is that it's like this surprise. Surprise advances. It's this shock advance where people that they came out and they said that it was revealed that this AI model could perform on the same general level as these other prominent AI models. This was not expected. Some people are saying this is a black swan moment or a Sputnik moment. I've seen that used. ChatGPT says a Sputnik moment refers to a defining or transformative event that prompts a nation or group to rapidly advance its efforts, typically in response to a significant challenge or competition. That term originates from the launch of the Soviet satellite Sputnik 1 in 1957, which shocked the United States as it demonstrated Soviet technological superiority in space exploration and prompted the U.S. to accelerate its own space program. Any event that serves as a wake-up call, says ChatGPT. Okay, Wall Street's superstars tumbled Monday as a competitor from China threatens to upend the artificial intelligence frenzy they've been feasting on. You know, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not an expert in financial news, but I do read financial news, and I do know that I've read articles talking about how, many people were seeing AI as like, this is the big new like industrial revolution kind of thing. AI is going to change everything. It's going to change the world, and there's going to be so much spending on it, and companies are going to make so much money on it. So big valuations of a number of companies were tied into these assumptions about, how big AI is going to be and how much money it's going to make. But these assumptions may have been, they might. Certainly, some people think that that this DeepSeek AI has changed things in the world of AI. So the S&P 500 dropped 1.5%, dragged down in large part by a 16.9% fall for Nvidia. Other big tech stocks also took heavy losses, and they pulled the Nasdaq down 3.1%. The damage was focused on AI-related stocks. The shock to financial markets, says AP, came from China, where a company called DeepSeek unveiled a large language model, that's a type of AI model, that can compete with U.S. giants, but at potentially a fraction of the cost. That's the key there. That this Chinese company has come out with this AI model. You can think of it like an AI program, like ChatGPT. I guess, I don't even know the terminology, but I guess ChatGPT is based on OpenAI's AI model. So they have their own AI model that, powers their own AI chatbot that you can download on your phone if you want right now, DeepSeek. But theirs was potentially much cheaper. DeepSeek had already hit the top of the chart for free apps on Apple's App Store by this morning, and analysts said such a feat would be particularly impressive given how the U.S. government has restricted Chinese access to top AI chips. That's a whole other part of the story. The Biden administration had taken efforts to keep top AI chips away from China, to restrict how they could develop their AI, but they seem to have figured out how to develop it pretty well anyway. Skepticism, though, remains about how much DeepSeek's announcement will ultimately shake the economy that's built around the AI industry, from the chip makers like Nvidia making semiconductors to the utilities hoping to electrify vast data centers, gobbling up computing power. Dan Ives, an analyst with Wedbush Securities, said it remains to be seen if DeepSeek found a way to work around these chip restrictions and what chips they ultimately used, as there will be many skeptics around this issue given the information is coming from China. DeepSeek's disruption nevertheless rocked AI-related stocks worldwide. So we talked about how Nvidia went down by about 17%. The Dutch chip-making equipment company ASML went down 7%. Japan's SoftBank Group. Now, you might have remembered that the SoftBank CEO was one of the tech giants who appeared with President Trump, I think it was last week, announcing an up to $500 billion investment in AI-related data centers. So he was one of the tech people there. There was Larry Ellison from Oracle and Sam Altman from OpenAI were there as well. But Japan's SoftBank Group lost 8.3%. Look, to pull closer where it was before leaping on an announcement trumpeted by the White House that it was joining a partnership to invest up to $500 billion in AI and infrastructure. And there's this whole other point, which is tech companies in recent years have been spending billions and billions, dozens of billions of dollars on AI. And now there's this question of like, did they need to spend this money? Has this money been wasted in a sense because it's actually cheaper to develop AI than was thought? I don't know. I'm just saying this is a concern that's been raised. Constellation Energy lost more than a fifth of its value. The company has said it would restart the shuttered 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant to supply power for data centers for Microsoft. Wow. Constellation Energy down more than 20%. Show you that over there on, if I can find it here, on Yahoo Finance. Yes, Constellation Energy. Look at the 5-day chart. There's the last day. You can see lost 20.85%. I'm going to take a couple comments in a second here. Let me just see if there's anything I want to mention here. It is a sharp turnaround for the AI winners, which had soared in recent years on hopes that all the investment pouring in to AI would remake the global economy and deliver gargantuan profits along the way. Such stellar performances also raised criticism that their stock prices had gone too far too fast. So, if this Chinese company has developed a competitive AI, but for much cheaper, does that mean there's going to be a lot more competition in the AI field? Does it mean that AI companies won't be able to charge as much for their services? Will there be less profits? We're going to talk more about this. Anyways, I want to take some comments from you guys first. I want to take a few comments and questions right now. We'll keep getting into more developments on this. By the way, thanks to Caleb for your support. Caleb says, do not download the app. Install distilled version locally with Olama on your desktop. I'm not a tech person. I can't speak to that. That's our viewer Caleb's advice. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you also, Evan Freiberger. Evan Freiberger thinks this is overblown. DeepSeek is open source, meaning any company can improve and copy this tech in 2 weeks. Well, DeepSeek is open source, but so that's an interesting question. Open source is when you make your code available to the public. But you might say it's overblown in helping DeepSeek, but if other companies can, if it's open source, I've seen some opinions that say, well, if it's open source, then other companies might develop things on top of DeepSeek's model, which could help it become more popular. Also, given that it's open source, maybe that just leads to more competition in the AI industry, which hurts these big established companies. That's a whole interesting topic about open source. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit because I think it's very interesting. I want to hold off for the second on that. But thank you, Evan Freiberger. But it's also a question of whether there is this question that Evan's comment raises of how financially harmful is this development going to be to these big AI associated companies? We don't know. I've seen some different opinions. Thanks also to Levi Hild. Yes, this is who mentions the open sourcing as well, which is a very interesting issue. We'll talk about that shortly. Maple Tinkerer says, not just code, open source also typically includes hardware too. Generally, open source makes it cheaper to research, but the downside is it makes it easier for competitors to compete. Captain Jerry Donnelly says, open is even cheaper. I want to make sure we're taking some comments and questions from you guys here. Let's see here. Herbert Scott says, reminds me of the search engine wars. Google was the last to the party and one we are still early. Mikey Stevens says, open source is not harmful. It lets DeepSeek adapt the new methodology to their current data centers. Oh, no. Are you saying it's not harmful to who? To DeepSeek? Or are you... I don't... Mikey Stevens' comment says, it's not harmful. It lets them adapt the new methodology to their current data centers, and now they can focus on AGI. I don't know who Mikey Stevens is referring to in that comment. Maybe Mikey can post again and clarify. Theo thinks the narrative wouldn't have gotten this much attention if it weren't about the China boogeyman. LLMs are getting smaller and faster. I will say, though, in a lot of the coverage I've seen of this, the coverage is not focused on, oh no, China, it's a Chinese company. It's more focused on, whoa, this company developed this alternative AI model that apparently functions competitively, similarly to these existing models, but was way cheaper to develop. That's the big point I see emphasized in the coverage. Gloria says, too soon to determine anything on day one. I'll wait. Shabbat Shalom says, the whale logo is very professional. All right, let me go talk about this some more. Take some more comments. By the way, Soulstar says, I've used both AIs extensively. For my use cases, coding research development, DeepSeek has been superior. Industry shakeup will be fairly long term. Thank you, Soulstar. Thank you. Thanks also, All That I Am, for subscribing on Twitch. All right, let me just give you some more here. So as I mentioned, as we've talked about, there are a bunch of American tech companies that have spent lots of money recent years on AI, whose valuations have gone up on the hopes of profits from AI. For example, before Monday's drop of almost 17%, Nvidia's stock had soared from less than $20 to more than $140 in less than 2 years. Nvidia makes chips that a lot of AI companies have been using. It was just on Friday that Meta Platforms CEO Mark Zuckerberg was saying he expects his company to invest up to $65 billion this year and grow its AI team significantly, while talking up a data center in Louisiana that will be so large it could cover a significant part of Manhattan. Will AI companies need to spend this kind of money to develop AI? They're not going to want to spend it if somebody else can spend a lot less and develop AI, which is just as good. A small group of 7 such companies has become so dominant that they alone accounted for more than half the S&P 500's total return last year. They include Alphabet, which is the parent company of Google and YouTube, I believe, Amazon, Apple, Meta Platforms, which owns Facebook and Instagram, I believe, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. Okay. Brian Jacobson, economist Brian Jacobson, who AP quoted, suggested not overreacting to Monday's sharp swings. It is possible that the news out of China could be overstated, and then we could see a reversal of the recent market moves, he said. It's also possible that the news is true, but then that would present new investment opportunities. Let's see here. Okay, so how big a deal is this going to end up being? Oh, by the way, one of our viewers mentioned something real quick. Hold on a second here. BNO News says Jim Acosta is expected to leave CNN, according to Oliver Darcy. I'm not going to really get into that right now. I had read something, I think by maybe Brian, was it by Brian Stelter recently, that said that CNN wanted Jim Acosta to like move to midnight and he wasn't happy with that. I don't know if I can find that real quick. I don't want to get distracted down that road. That's a whole different topic. But if I can find it in 2 seconds, I'll let you know. Yeah, like the Daily Beast had a post from several days ago saying after being relegated to the graveyard shift, Jim Acosta is reportedly questioning his future at CNN. Anyways, I don't want to get into that all now, but you can go look it up online if you want to know more. Let's see here. All right. CJS lady says, I don't trust DeepSeek. Purple Cat Audio says DeepSeek has excellent load balancing performance, which makes it very portable. Giant USA, our viewer, says real threat to Nvidia is made in China chips coming soon. One of our other viewers said China can't make chips. Tub of Popcorn says DeepSeek must be blowing up. I can't even sign up on iPhone right now. Now, about 2 hours ago, I downloaded it, and I did not have a problem signing up. But I do want to mention this. Chinese tech startup DeepSeek says it was hit with large-scale malicious attacks. This is from today by AP. Chinese tech startup DeepSeek says it was hit by a cyber attack Monday that disrupted users' ability to register on the site. Is this true? I don't know. The company, whose artificial intelligence chatbot has sent the tech world into a frenzy, said it had suffered a large-scale malicious attack on its services. Registered users could log in normally, DeepSeek said. DeepSeek began attracting more attention in the AI industry last month when it released a new AI model that it boasted was on par with similar models from US companies such as ChatGPT maker OpenAI, and was more cost-effective in its use of expensive Nvidia chips to train the system on huge troves of data. The chatbot became more widely accessible when it appeared on Apple and Google app stores early this year. By Monday, DeepSeek's AI assistant had become the #1 downloaded free app on Apple's iPhone store. The jump in popularity fueled debates over competition between the US and China in developing AI technology. But some U.S. tech industry observers said they were worried about the idea that the Chinese startup had caught up with the American companies at the forefront of generative AI at a fraction of the cost. Now, I don't know if there were these attacks. I don't know if they're still going on or anything. Just mentioning this story. Hippiesta says, I was just able to download DeepSeek. How much is it? It is $0.00. By the way, I know a lot of you do use AI chatbots, but some of our viewers might not. I've talked about them, I think, some of on our streams before. But it's really an incredible technology. You can kind of think about it as like a Google search, but you can talk to it like a human being. You can say, for example, hey, tell me, I was hearing a lot about solar power. Tell me about the pros and cons of solar power. And it'll list a bunch of them, pros and cons. And you can say, oh, but that one, I have a question about this point you made. And then it'll answer you back. Or you can say, I want to go on a trip to Paris in 2 months, and I'm kind of into this kind of stuff. What kind of things can I do there? You really can ask it all about various kinds of things. You can ask it about like math problems. I use it to study Spanish language. You can say, hey, this sentence, why does this word mean this? Are there other words I could use here? Is there a better way to say this? You can just talk to it like you talk to a person. I'm just scratching the surface. You can tell it to do basically all kinds of things. It can help people write computer code. You can say, hey, I have this project for work. I'm supposed to come up with ideas about this. Can you suggest some possibilities for me? So there's all these kinds of things it can do. But I'm just saying this for the people out there who've never tried it. If you want to try it, you can go to ChatGPT. That's one, free to use. There's like a paid option or options, but it's free to use if you want it to use it free. Google has one. I think it's Gemini. Microsoft, I think, has one, don't they? I forget what it's called. There's also Perplexity is one. Anthropic has one. There's a bunch of them out there. Meta has one. Grok AI by X is one. So I'm basically saying this to encourage people out there. If you've never tried it, you might want to give it a shot. It's really interesting technology. Can ask it about cooking. Can ask it about all kinds of things. But DeepSeek is this new one from a Chinese company. You can get #1 downloaded app now, free app on iOS, and you can use it like you use these others. You can go try it now if you want. But supposedly they developed it for way less money than these other prominent American ones. Okay. Ari G says, I have most of them. Like Copilot. Yeah, Microsoft has Copilot, some of our viewers said. Thank you, by the way, Gabriel Morrow. Gabriel Morrow says, DeepSeek told me it was developed by OpenAI. I can't speak to what DeepSeek might have told you on a certain query. Something about AI models is whatever one you're using, sometimes they give you an incorrect answer. That does happen. So I can't speak, Gabriel, to your particular question and answer there. But I have not really asked a DeepSeek about itself. And I don't know what it can tell you about itself. By the way, something I can say about DeepSeek is, so some of these AI models, you can ask it stuff about like stuff that happened yesterday, but some of them you can't. Like some of them can't consult the web for that. So for example, as a test, I asked DeepSeek what happened in the NFL with the football games yesterday, and it told me that currently it can't get that kind of recent current events data, but there are plans in the future for it to be able to. Thank you, Craig Johnson, who says you might be overlooking the simple fact of cheap labor. Chinese can work for pennies on the dollar for Americans. Thank you, Craig. I don't know if that was really a factor in this. I haven't seen cheap labor as described as a factor in the cheapness of developing this particular app, although maybe it could matter when it comes to other AI-related things. I'm just telling you from what I've read. So that is not the cheapness. The cheapness of development, from what I understand from reading different articles, is about they came up with original ways to train this model and develop this model. They used different techniques than had been typically used before. But maybe that might have relevance to other AI-related things. Thank you, Craig Johnson. Thank you also, Ryan2426. Oh, now Ryan mentions DeepSeek is interesting in that it shows the AI's reasoning and logic behind its answers as if it's thinking out loud. So I'm not an expert on this, but I did try this. If you download DeepSeek, there's a button on it called, what is it, R1? And if you click on DeepSeek R1 and you ask it a question, it will show you what it's thinking. Like it'll say, okay, this person asked me this. So I got to think of this, but the person's probably going to want to know this. So maybe I should talk about this. Like it actually, you can follow the process of the reasoning of the thing, which is, I've never seen that before. I'm sure some of you have maybe seen it other places, but that was really interesting to see. I'm not an expert, so I can't really get into the details of that, but it's an interesting thing to try if you downloaded the DeepSeek app. Let's see here. All right. I want to go back to some of the reporting on this. So again, this could be a huge moment. I know if you haven't really been following AI and like AI business news, it might seem like a real niche story, but this could be a huge development. It could really change the fundamentals of the economy of the world of AI, which again, some people were thinking like that's going to be the new industrial revolution, AI. And these big AI-related companies like OpenAI, and your Google and your Meta and Nvidia, they're going to make so much money off of this because everybody's going to use AI and it's really expensive to do, and they're going to be the ones dominant in this field. That might be incorrect. And DeepSeek has come out with this new AI model that seems to work similarly to the other prominent ones, but cost way less to develop, supposedly. All right, let's talk a little more about this. Okay. What is DeepSeek and why is it disrupting the AI sector? You can see there's the logo. Oh, we might have a little video. Hey, maybe before we read the article, Reuters has a little, I like to show the videos they put out. You can see there's the Chinese flag and DeepSeek logo with the whale. Let's check out their video on this. Ooh, I like it. We got a little surprise DeepSeek video for you guys. Here we go. Then I'll show you some of the article. Presenting the Reuters DeepSeek quick summary video. Oops.
Chinese startup.
Hold on. Spelled. Let me do one thing real quick. All right, we're ready. We're ready to show it. Thought we were ready.
Chinese startup DeepSeek.
Here we go. All right, here is the Reuters DeepSeek video. I haven't used DeepSeek on the web yet. I guess that's the website there. I've been using the app. All right, here you go.
Chinese startup DeepSeek has roiled global stock markets with the launch of its latest artificial intelligence models. The company says they are on par with or better than industry-leading models in the US at a fraction of the cost, which has led to steep declines for AI chipmaker Nvidia's shares and others. Here's what we know about the company and its product development. Since the release of OpenAI's ChatGPT in late 2022, Chinese tech firms have been scrambling to create their own chatbots powered by artificial intelligence. DeepSeek says 2 of its models have been showered with praise by Silicon Valley executives and US tech company engineers and are on par with OpenAI and Meta's most advanced models. It also says that one of them is 20 to 50 times cheaper to use than an OpenAI model depending on the task. One technology CEO told CNBC he thinks DeepSeek is using Nvidia chips which are banned from being sold to Chinese companies. DeepSeek did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the allegation. The company is a Hangzhou-based startup whose controlling shareholder is Liang Wenfeng, co-founder of quantitative hedge fund High Flyer, based on Chinese corporate records. It is unclear how much High Flyer has invested in DeepSeek. The 2 companies have offices in the same building, and High Flyer owns patents related to chip clusters used to train AI models, according to Chinese corporate records. DeepSeek's success has already been noticed in China's top political circles. Last week, on the day DeepSeek released a new product to the public, company founder Liang attended a closed-door symposium hosted by Chinese Premier Li Qiang, according to state news agency Xinhua. Liang's presence at the gathering is potentially a sign that DeepSeek's success could be important to Beijing's policy goal of overcoming Washington's export controls and achieving self-sufficiency in strategic industries like AI.
Wow. Wow. How about that? Sheldon Williams says Chinese Communist Party just farted in America's face. That's what our viewers said. They Call Me Taj says, does this AI still need a lot of energy? Well, a couple things here. First of all, I believe, so if I remember right, that it uses it certainly trained with less computer chips and it cost less. So I believe it costs less to run, but I want to be sure about that. If you give me 1 second here, because I know a number of energy stocks actually went way down. Chinese AI related energy stocks. But let me see if I can get you an answer on this. I'm sure some of you know this. Let's see here. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Because it definitely costs less to train. In terms of to run, I'm not sure at the moment. Anyways, maybe I can find you an answer as we go through some of this thing. I don't want to take up too much time researching that one good question. You can see here, Reuters says, why is DeepSeek causing a stir? The two DeepSeek models that have been showered with praise by Silicon Valley executives and U.S. tech company engineers alike, DeepSeek V3 and DeepSeek R1 are on par with OpenAI and Meta's most advanced models, the Chinese startup has said. They are also cheaper to use. Cheaper to use. The DeepSeek R1 model released last week is 20 to 50 times cheaper to use than the OpenAI O1 model, depending on the task, according to a post on DeepSeek's official WeChat account. But some have publicly expressed skepticism about DeepSeek's success story. Scale AI CEO Alexander Wang said in an interview with CNBC, without providing evidence, that DeepSeek has 50,000 Nvidia H100 chips, which he claimed would not be disclosed because that would violate Washington's export controls that ban such AI chips from being sold to Chinese companies. DeepSeek did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the allegation. Bernstein analysts on Monday highlighted in a research note that DeepSeek's total training costs for its V3 model were unknown, but were much higher, they said, than the $5.58 million the startup said was used for computing power. The analyst said the training costs of the equally acclaimed R1 model were not disclosed. But you can see here the company has attracted attention in global AI circles after writing in a paper last month that the training of the DeepSeek V3 model required less than $6 million worth of computing power from Nvidia H800 chips. This has raised doubts about the reasoning behind some U.S. tech companies' decision to pledge billions of dollars in AI investment, and shares of several big tech players, including Nvidia, have been hit. Okay. I'm going to show you some other stuff about this too. Grabo Clone says it costs way less to run. All right, hang on a moment here. Hang on a moment. If you're just joining us, we are covering the AI tech sell-off today that saw Nvidia, which is one of the most valuable companies in the world, lost about 17% of its value. About $600 billion in market cap lost. A number of other tech companies AI-related tech companies were strongly hit today because this Chinese company has developed this AI model which performs similarly to the prominent US created models by US companies, but supposedly it was developed way cheaper and it runs cheaper. So we could have, that could mean that there'll be a lot more competition in the field. For example, there could be a lot more companies that enter the AI field. It could mean that the big AI companies won't be able to charge as much because there's more competition, and that prices could drop and you won't be able to make as much profits. I mean, could have huge implications for this industry. Oh, look at this. AP, by the way, says Vistra Corp, 28.3%. Vistra Corp went down 28.3%, the biggest drop for any stock in the S&P 500. Vistra isn't a tech company. It is an independent power producer. Its shares soared last year on expectations that the build out of AI infrastructure in the US will require enormous amounts of power. But for example, maybe AI won't use as much power. Maybe you can build AI models that are more efficient, that do the same things. But this power corporation, which is expected to sell lots of power, I guess, to the AI industry, they lost 28.3% of their value. Orange Man Good says, how do you download DeepSeek on your desktop? Can you just use it on their website? If you go to deepseek.com and you click on Start Now, you can log in. Oh, by the way, I just went to the DeepSeek website. It says, due to large-scale malicious attacks on DeepSeek services, registration may be busy. Please wait and try again. Registered users can log in normally. Thank you for your understanding and support. Now, it also says log in with Google there too, which appears to work. If you just go to deepseek.com, you can just use it. See, and this is the opening screen. DeepSeek, hi, I'm DeepSeek. How can I help you today? Kind of looks similar to other AI chatbots, you know? So there you go. That's DeepSeek. This one is chat.deepseek.com. Yes, and there are apps on the Google Play Store and iOS. Thank you, Grevin Cher, for your support. Grevin Cher says, it's like the Soviet propaganda on the MiG-25 that led to the development of the F-15. MiG-25 specs were a lie, but we built a plane to defeat it. So Grevin is questioning the claims about this DeepSeek. Although from what I understand, the performance of the model has been tested by non-Chinese testers who have praised it. So it's not just people. I mean, there's questions about, did it really cost what they say it cost? Did they really use what they said? Like, what kind of chips did they really use to develop it? But from what I understand, the performance has been widely tested. Our viewer P14Y ... says the performance is not in question. The question is how it costs to make, how much it costs to make. Thank you, Grevin Share. Thank you also. Grevin Share thinks it's Silicon Valley making a mountain out of a molehill to get more money out of the new administration. I don't know if the new administration is going to want to spend more money on it if they think that there's cheaper alternatives, but I don't know. Maybe the new administration will be worried that China is advancing. Oh my gosh, China's catching up on AI. China might have caught up on AI. Brock Purdy, thank you, who says Vistra was the power plant battery bank fire. Oh, was that a Vistra plant? The power plant fire in, where was that? A week or two ago? That was a lithium battery plant, and that was the Moss Landing power plant, which I guess is owned by Vistra. I think it was owned by Vistra. I'm just looking at it here. Anyways, yes, I'm looking at a couple articles that say that the Moss Landing power plant in Monterey County, that was a battery plant that was on fire recently, that plant was owned by Vistra. Okay, interesting fact. Dark Cloud says, I asked DeepSeek about Australian meal ideas and it worked. Breaking LV says DeepSeek services are temporarily limiting registrations to ensure continued service. Oh, yeah, so good point by our viewer. If you go to DeepSeek status page, status.deepseek.com, it says, due to large-scale malicious attacks on DeepSeek services, we are temporarily limiting registrations to ensure continued service. Existing users can log in as usual. Thanks for your understanding and support. Now, I don't know this business well, so I certainly think it's possible they're attacked. I mean, you might argue that a company in theory could be having issues and blame it on attacks. I've seen no reporting suggesting that they're making this up, that there are attacks, but I just want to be clear that this is their word. I am not an expert on this business, but they're saying that due to large-scale malicious attacks, they are limiting registrations to ensure continued service. But again, I was able to go to their website right now and sign in via Google. So, and I downloaded the app and got it to work 2 hours ago. So anyways, but just so you know, Michael Lausen says, why don't you ask DeepSeek what makes it better than ChatGPT? I don't even know that it will talk about that kind of thing. Also, I've heard some things about, like, you can't ask it about certain sensitive political topics, like in China. So just real quick, out of interest, if I ask it, I don't know what's going to say. What was the Tiananmen Square massacre? It's thinking. I'm online. I just asked it. It's thinking. It has not given me an answer yet to that question. Although maybe it's just, actually, it's possible that it says, okay, so I asked it, what is the Tiananmen Square massacre? And it said, sorry, that's beyond my current scope. Let's talk about something else. I've seen reports of this kind of thing. So that is the question and answer I put in the question. That's the answer I got. If I asked it, what makes you better than ChatGPT? I don't know if it'll answer that question. I don't know if it really does the talking about its own capabilities thing. It says I'm DeepSeek V3, an AI assistant. It doesn't really answer that question. It says for detailed information about models and products, please refer to the official documentation. I also don't even know. I haven't done it. I don't know if you go to these other chatbots and you ask them about their own capabilities, what they'll tell you. Hey, thank you to Greg Pondell for the gift memberships. I appreciate it, Greg. Thank you, Aaron Easton. Aaron says, is it possible this is related to the TikTok storyline? No, not in any kind of real obvious way. I mean, I'm guessing, who knows? Maybe in the Trump administration, these two things intersect in a policy way somehow, but no. So at least initially, this aspect. Now, in the future, could there be a concern by the U.S. government about everybody adopting DeepSeek? If they do, or lots of people using DeepSeek in the US, like there are concerns about TikTok, I don't know. But that right now is not part of the story right now. The story right now, the big aspect of the story is that this Chinese company has developed an AI model which appears to function similarly and work, I don't want to say equally as well, but generally speaking, on a par with the big U.S. company-created AI models, but was reportedly developed at a fraction of the cost and is significantly less expensive to run. That's the big part of the story right now. Thank you, Aaron Easton. Thank you also, Bradley Castaneda, who thinks that ChatGPT is like a junk drawer packed with everything. DeepSeek is the organizer that sorts it all, helping you find exactly what you need quickly. So Bradley seems to like DeepSeek better. I've only used DeepSeek a little bit. Thank you also, Naomi Nocturnal. Happy birthday. Does it recognize Taiwan, says Scotty Scott? I mean, I'm guessing if I said who owns Taiwan, it might not answer it. I'm asking it right now to see what it says. Oh, so I will say that I think it's having... So I'm trying to use DeepSeek on the web, and it does seem to be having some issues. They did say they are having some issues. So it's not, sometimes I put in a question and I type click, and it doesn't even have to be like a controversial question in terms of like Chinese politics, and it won't answer. So I can maybe try it on my app version. I don't know if it'll answer that question. I'm trying it on the phone app now to see what it says. It gives me an answer about who owns Taiwan, and it says China claims Taiwan. So it's not just, and it says many Taiwanese people consider Taiwan a sovereign and independent country. All right, so I just asked DeepSeek who owns Taiwan, and it gives me a whole big long answer, but it does say that some people in China, it says many Taiwanese people consider Taiwan a sovereign and independent country. So it says that. It did not answer. Thank you, Gabriel Moro. Leet speak bug it shares with ChatGPT. I don't know what that is, Gabriel. Thank you, Scotty, Scott, and Gabriel, by the way. Let's see. Jolly Jumper says you're using the US model. I don't know if it changes its answers in different countries. That's a good question. Let's see here. All right, let me just go over. Again, you can go to deepseek.com to use it. You can download the app if you want to check it out. Let me show you something else here. little explainer here. DeepSeek FAQ by the Washington Post. By the way, our viewer TikTok Rose says, I don't like where this AI is going. I just want to emphasize this again, though. The big tech companies in the US have been pouring dozens of billions of dollars into AI development the last several years. And they've been investing huge amounts of money, and there's been this assumption that they're going to make a ton of money off of it. This development with DeepSeek threatens to upend that assumption. That is why, for example, the stock of Nvidia went down in value by about $600 billion yesterday. It lost about 17% of its value. Nvidia makes chips that AI companies use. I think Alphabet went down yesterday too. Alphabet went down 4%. This is Yahoo Finance, by the way. Microsoft. OpenAI, I believe, is privately held. Microsoft went down 2%. KC says, could this cause a stock market crash? So look, that's a good question. I mean, if enough big companies, if investors feel that, wow, these big companies aren't worth as much anymore, that's going to affect their prices. Now, how that could play out with estimates of how this impacts these companies' profits and outlook for the future, I don't know. But that is a concern. All right, let me show you this. What is DeepSeek, the Chinese AI app challenging OpenAI in Silicon Valley? The Washington Post says, DeepSeek is a new artificial intelligence chatbot that's sending shockwaves through Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and Washington. The app, named after the Chinese startup that built it, rocketed to the top of Apple's App Store in the US over the weekend. You know, I had not even heard of it before like yesterday. And I use AI chatbots all the time. I use ChatGPT all the time. And I've tried other ones. And I had not heard of this. And I just downloaded it right before this stream, and I was like, oh, it kind of works like ChatGPT. It's really interesting. According to some experts, DeepSeek's success and a technical paper it published last week suggests that Chinese AI developers can match their US counterparts without the same access to expensive high-end hardware that is at the heart of the geopolitical tensions between Washington and Beijing. So, for example, companies that make that high-end hardware, if making good AI models doesn't require this super high-end AI high-end hardware that it was thought it did, you could see how that might negatively impact the financial outlook of hardware-making companies. Here's what you should know about DeepSeek AI assistant app and the company behind it. DeepSeek is a Chinese artificial intelligence startup founded in 2023 by Liang Wenfeng, co-founder of the hedge fund Highflyer. All right, I'm not gonna read every single word of this. Highflyer claims its AI software is competitive with that made by US tech giants such as OpenAI and Google on a variety of tasks at the fraction of the cost to develop it and run. That is the key right there. The company that makes DeepSeek says its AI software is competitive with that made by US tech giants like OpenAI and Google on a variety of tasks at a fraction of the cost to develop and run. Consumers are interested in DeepSeek's technology. Its AI assistant app that was released earlier this month has shot to the top spot in Apple's App Store in the US and other countries. DeepSeek's surging popularity caused a sell-off in tech company shares today. Leading AI chipmaker Nvidia saw its stock price fall by nearly 17%, although it's still the world's third most valuable company. Last week, DeepSeek published the technical infrastructure underpinning the AI model behind its app, DeepSeek R1. It claims cost savings from using far fewer and less advanced computer chips than advanced AI projects usually do. That pushes back on a core assumption of US AI companies and policymakers that the best AI demands hugely expensive and advanced semiconductors. This idea led the Biden administration to ban U.S. companies from exporting powerful AI chips to China with the aim of slowing down the country's tech industry. So interesting. Hold on a second here. Some of our viewers are questioning the claims of DeepSeek. Again, as one of our viewers said, I think the performance has been pretty well established now. There are claims about, well, what did they really use to develop it? How much did it really cost? Our viewer Pravolution says, I'd like to see proof of the fraction of cost / hardware. Louise Costigan says, I'm not sure I'm a fan of AI, undecided yet. Nation Rising says China made it open source. We need to talk about it. It is open source. And again, there's that question of, will it turn out that these American companies like OpenAI and Meta and Google and Microsoft have been throwing dozens of billions of dollars into AI investment that wasn't actually needed? I don't know. It's an open question right now. But there's been so much money invested because the assumption was you have to invest this money to get good AI. Physics says wasting money is very American. Well, again, we're not sure it was wasted at this point, but all right, let me show you a little more here. How does it work? The app's interface is similar to those like ChatGPT, letting you type any question or request, then replying with conversational responses, although it does not yet generate images. It's free on iOS and Android. It's also free on the web. Like other AI models, the one powering DeepSeek can process and sift through huge amounts of data to identify patterns, make predictions, and solve problems. The model is trained on data up to July, so it doesn't know about more recent events, but a search option can scan more up-to-date information and headlines. Oh, is there a search option? Anyways, I should also mention with DeepSeek, I bet I can try it right here. Like you can do things like you can just put in a giant article in it or a giant paper and say, summarize this for me. And very quickly, it can do it. I haven't tried this yet with DeepSeek. Just as an example, I'm going to throw an article in there. I'll pull up an article from a newspaper and about some random thing. About the Colombia deportation crisis. And I'll throw it in there and see, and I'll say, summarize this if it works. I don't know if it's going to work on the web. They've been having some issues on the web. Yes, so I literally just put a newspaper article into DeepSeek and I said, summarize this, and it's typing me out a summary of the article right now. That's short, that's much, it gave me a 3-paragraph summary of the article that's way shorter than the article. So that's something else you can do as well. Mama Bear says the name is scary. Is it safe to use? As with most apps, the Washington Post says DeepSeek can collect and store a massive amount of personal information, including any conversations you have and technical information about things such as your device and internet connection. The data could be accessed by the Chinese government which has broad powers to intervene with corporations, the app also appears to be censoring certain information in line with China's strict internet controls, such as, hey, I tried this on the air. Any mention of the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests? I asked about the Tiananmen Square massacre. It said it couldn't talk about that, or couldn't answer it, or whatever it said. Because DeepSeek has released a version of its AI model for others to use and modify, open source, outside developers can make it both more secure and less restricted by running it locally on a powerful enough device. How did DeepSeek do it? How did it do it? DeepSeek claims it managed to develop its technology while using less advanced chips than US competitors. That could be big news for China's government and tech industry as US policymakers attempt to constrain the country's AI development. As we mentioned, the Biden administration has in recent years implemented sweeping restrictions on exports of powerful chips such as semiconductors and graphics processing units in an effort to slow China's development of AI and help maintain the lead US companies have had in AI. In a paper last month, DeepSeek said it trained its AI model using about 2,000 of Nvidia's H800 chips and $5.6 million. Way less than it would normally would be thought it would cost to train a model. The chips are less powerful versions of Nvidia's flagship H100 chips, and both have now been placed under U.S. export restrictions. U.S. AI companies have spent billions buying the latest Nvidia chips to build and run their own AI programs. Silicon Valley investor Mark Andreessen said in a post on X that DeepSeek was one of the most amazing and impressive breakthroughs he had ever seen. I wonder if I can find that post from him. I'd have to go way back to find it. Let's see. I'm not going to go. I'll search back through his posts. Let's see. All right, let me take some more comments from you guys. Such an interesting story, I think. Fred E says, so the chips that were used are now on the list of chips that can't be sold to China. Seems a little late now, doesn't it? Lloyd M says, I just downloaded it. It's good. Andy thinks, now I have no idea what this really means, but Andy thinks they modified the PTX code to make the H800 chips be able to network fast enough to train efficiently. The article I was just reading talks about how it is believed they developed efficient ways to train this thing. You can see here, what makes DeepSeek different from ChatGPT, says the Washington Post. DeepSeek has capabilities similar to that of ChatGPT and other AI models such as Google's Gemini, Meta's Llama. Meta's called Llama, I didn't know that, and Anthropic's Claude. But DeepSeek researchers say they have developed techniques to make the original training and development of their model much more efficient. Some of the ideas they detailed aren't new to the AI world, but the company has apparently been able to apply them in a successful way. DeepSeek has also made its AI models freely available for others to download and modify, a strategy also adopted by Meta for its Llama AI models. That means other companies can use DeepSeek's technology to boost their own AI products. OpenAI has instead chosen to keep ChatGPT's technology to itself and sell access to its AI services to businesses. By the way, another company that was really hurt today in the stock market was chip manufacturer Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC. They make chips for Nvidia and others. They were down 13%. Other U.S. chip companies, including ARM and Intel, also lost value. Intel was down about 2.5%. We showed you how Nvidia was down almost 17%. That's on Yahoo Finance. By the way, the Washington Post also says China's government has, like its U.S. counterpart, made AI a national priority and says it wants to be the world leader in AI technology in 2030. China has invested huge amounts of money into AI research and technology in much the same way U.S. companies have. Now, by the way, AI, there's this whole other issue of AI being used in military technology. Out of concern that China could use AI to catch up to U.S. military and economic power. So you could have concerns that if China AI ends up advancing faster than U.S. AI, well, how about the weapon systems that use AI? Could that lead to Chinese military technology being better than American military technology? That's a whole other question. Sean Lee says the AI wars have begun. Sean Lee 12. Michelle Mason says, isn't this grand, a global race to build the first Terminator and Skynet? Flo says, I doubt most people can tell the difference between R1 model by DeepSeek and ChatGPT in a blind test. Pajama Stacking says modern day space race. Oh, Sam Altman posted. Didn't he say something like positive about it? But I don't know what he really thinks. I have to imagine, I'm not a tech news expert. I'm not a tech expert. I have to imagine that in the corporate headquarters of places like Google and ChatGPT, OpenAI and Meta, I have to guess they are freaking out. I also would have to guess that in the US government, they are freaking out. That'd be my guess. Sam Altman, who is the head of OpenAI, said DeepSeek's R1 is an impressive model, particularly around for what they're able to deliver for the price. We will obviously deliver much better models, and it's legit invigorating to have a new competitor. We will pull up some releases, but mostly we are excited to continue to execute on our research roadmap and believe more compute is more important now than ever before to succeed at our mission. The world is going to want to use a lot of AI and really be quite amazed by the next gen models coming. Look forward to bringing you all AGI and beyond. So that's like a positive spin on it. I don't know that the take is so positive really at OpenAI. Dr. McRib says, do they still need the 500 billion? The 500 billion thing, the 500 billion thing we reported on was a bunch of tech representatives said that they were going to spend up to 500 billion on data centers in the US. Is that still needed? I don't know. Hang on a second here. Mason D says it's needed. By the way, thanks to Evil Bunny and also Stephen Parmy, who says, welcome to U.S. exceptionalism. Thank you, NMCT. NMCT thinks that DeepSeek is not as great as everyone is saying. You can even ask more details about it, like how long was development? Thank you, Alicia Alexander, who says, could this be a form of subtle, non-invasive warfare? I do wonder if there are concerns. One of our viewers had asked about TikTok earlier, and Aaron Easton. And I do wonder if in the US government there is a concern that a lot of people would start using an AI search bot and downloading it on their phone that's made by a Chinese company. So it's an interesting question. Thank you, Martin Gingrich, for your support. Martin says DeepSeek stores a much smaller amount of data without losing performance. That's what Martin says, making it much cheaper to use as a breakthrough that USA didn't see coming soon. Thanks to Wildcat Malone, by the way. Has anyone verified DeepSeek's claims? So again, the performance has been independently tested, from what I understand, but there's still questions about their claims about what equipment they used to develop the model and how much exactly it cost. I wanted to mention there was some interesting observations made by The Economist about this. Oh, but first, so a number of you have been talking about how DeepSeek is open source, which is they make, as I understand it, they make the code available to anybody can, see the code they're using for the model. Let me see if I can. But I was going to explain why they might do this. You might think, why did they do that? It is open source, though. Hang on a second here. You can see here, AP says, one thing that distinguishes DeepSeek from competitors such as OpenAI is that its models are open source, meaning key components are free for anyone to access and modify, though the company hasn't disclosed the data it used for training. But what's attracted the most admiration about DeepSeek's R1 model is what Nvidia calls a perfect example of test time scaling, or when AI models effectively show their train of thought and then use that for further training without having to feed them new sources of data. It's just thinking out loud, basically, said a researcher at Rand Corp. You can see this in the app if you click on the R1. What is it? The DeepThink R1 button. It'll show you what it's thinking when you ask it a question. OpenAI's reasoning models, starting with O1, do the same. But it's the first time we've seen a Chinese company being that close within a relatively short time period. I think that's why a lot of people pay attention to it, Helm said. I used to believe OpenAI was the leader, the king of the hill, and that nobody could catch up. Turns out this is not completely the case, said this expert at Rand Corp. So I actually asked, you might wonder, why would they want to make it open source? So that's a good question. Why would you make it open source? So you know what I did actually today is I asked ChatGPT. I said, why would you want to have your AI model be open source? Why would an AI company want its AI model to be open source? And I got some answers from it. This is the kind of thing you can ask an AI. So just to give you, here are some of the reasons that ChatGPT offered when I asked ChatGPT, why would an AI company want to have its model be open source? Now, ChatGPT is not open source. For example, it said, open source allows the community to contribute improvements, to find bugs, to suggest improvements, and that can make the model better, the AI system better over time. Transparency, others can look at the code and ensure that the code operates ethically and fairly. Maybe some people want to know how an AI is operating and have worries about it. I assume there could be various worries you might have, but that might make people more comfortable using it. Innovation, open source products can foster innovation. Other companies can take that technology, for example, and adapt it to a new use. And also network effects. If more companies or researchers or others use it, that company can establish itself as the leader in the field. This can lead to greater adoption of its tools or technologies, even if the model itself is free. So it's interesting. It's this idea that, like, yeah, it's free, but let's say that lots of people start using it, and companies start making, they change it a bit and they use it for different applications. Maybe it becomes the standard, and that helps the original creator in some way. That these are just some of the reasons. When I asked ChatGPT, why would an AI company want to be open source with its model? These are some of the things it says. They also say monetization. If you open source your model, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not reading you word by word what ChatGPT said. I'm paraphrasing. They say if you open source your model where you give free access, but you offer paid services or enterprise level solutions for those who need premium support, customization, or deployment assistance. So what they're saying is, yeah, it's free to use, but maybe if everybody starts using it and liking it, the company that makes it can offer, a premium version or premium services, and it helps them to have everybody just using it, which is an interesting thought. So again, I'm just trying, because it's a good question. Why would they just let everybody look at their code? But you can see there, they talk about how reputation-wise, it can improve a company's reputation to have it be open source. Anyways, that's just some answers to why an AI company might want to make their AI model open source. But if you want an answer, ask one of these AI models. That's something you can ask them. I wonder if I'm going to ask DeepSeek the same question. See what DeepSeek says. DeepSeek is also giving me some of the similar answers. They say fostering innovation and collaboration, building trust and transparency, establishing industry standards, cost-effective development. They say leveraging the global community to improve the model can reduce development costs and speed up progress. Marketing and branding, open sourcing can enhance the company's reputation as a forward-thinking, community-oriented organization. Anyways, but they say that there's challenges to open sourcing. You can lose your competitive advantage. Somebody could misuse it, for example. Anyways, so it's an interesting question. I'm gonna mention, there's another article that I thought was quite good on this that I want to mention too, but I want to take a few more comments from you guys. It's just a really interesting topic. So we are here covering again this call. It's being referred to as a shocking development in the world of AI, where this DeepSeek Chinese AI model has emerged performing on a par with the top U.S. AI models that all this money has been spent off by these tech giants like Google and Microsoft and OpenAI. And this company in China developed this DeepSeek model, which performs seemingly on par with these other U.S.-based models, but with U.S. company created models, but is cost way less to develop apparently, and cost less to run. And that has caused in the past day a big drop in AI-related stock prices for a number of companies. So we've been talking about this here, and we've been taking your comments on the air. Let's see here. Take some more here. But could this really disrupt the AI sector, which has been widely seen as like the big new sector in the economy? Eric Johnson says, with open source, getting others to work on your model for you is a big one. Matthew says, does DeepSeek have different voices? I'm not aware that DeepSeek has a live chat, sound chat function yet. I don't know for sure. I haven't seen it. I know like ChatGPT, you can do an audio chat with it. I don't aware that functionality exists on DeepSeek. I haven't, maybe it does. I haven't seen it there. Plot Monkey, our viewer, says OpenAI makes a killing selling API access subscriptions, top tier being $200 a month. This severely undercuts OpenAI's revenue stream. TJ Adams says, I love chatting with ChatGPT. Michelle says, I wonder if DeepSeek can give me the weather. I don't believe it has. You know, there's a search button. DeepSeek does have a search button. So I bet if you said, what is the weather in New York? If you just ask DeepSeek, I think it's going to say, well, I don't have access to up-to-date data from the last few months or something like that. But there's a search option, and you can just press search instead. I said, what is the weather in New York now? It says, I don't have real-time data access. But if I say the same question, what is the weather in New York now? And I type the search button in DeepSeek, I bet it'll just search the web. Let's see. Will it? Oh, no. Sorry, I asked the wrong question. What is the weather in New York now? And I said search. Clicked on search. It says it's searching the web. So there you go. You can go to DeepSeek, and if you click on, you have to tell it to search the web. But it will search the web. It seems to be having a little issue. I said, what is the weather in New York now? And it says searching the web, but it hasn't given me an answer yet. But I guess that's the idea of the functionality. That function doesn't seem to be working right now on the website with my current question. It is not answering what is the weather in New York now. I wonder if I use my phone and I click on search and I say, what is the weather in New York now? It should just search the web and tell me. It says searching the web. Maybe that functionality is having issues. Same issue. So I wasn't able to use the search the web button for the moment. Let's see here. Suplex City says even ChatGPT 3.5 doesn't have real-time data access. I believe it. If you go to ChatGPT now, doesn't it? I'm a free user of ChatGPT, and I feel like I've recently been able to. I think ChatGPT does offer web access. What's the weather in NY now? I'm on ChatGPT. I just asked it, and it says searching the web, and it just gave me a web result. So it does, and it gave me sources. So ChatGPT does do it. I think it's supposed to do it on DeepSeek. All right. I want to mention there was a real good article on in The Economist that talked about this. That I wanted to mention some of. In case for those just joining the broadcast, real quick, I want to just quickly also play. There was a nice short video by Reuters in this article explaining what is DeepSeek and why is it disrupting the AI sector. That gives you a little quick overview of what we're talking about here. So real quick, let's just play this. Oh, also, hey, thanks to our moderators. Cynthia Moon is here moderating. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Linda Belk and Larry on X, thank you. By the way, our viewer Nation Rising says, to say this is all too good to be true is nonsense. It's all verifiable and testable. That's what Nation Rising says. Thanks also to our Twitch moderators. I got that fire, Surly Dev, David Green, Good Luck Duck, Mark, HNC, McBritches, and also thanks to Risen One Sun for subscribing on Twitch, and All That I Am for subscribing over there. And also thanks to our Facebook moderators. We've had Kay Lowry Body, Paul Anderson over there moderating, Margaret Riley, thank you. All right, so here is, and thank you to Megan Reindel, our member. Here's a little quick summary overview of the story from Reuters.
Chinese startup DeepSeek has roiled global stock markets with the launch of its latest artificial intelligence models. The company says they are on par with or better than industry-leading models in the US at a fraction of the cost, which has led to steep declines for AI chipmaker Nvidia's shares and others. Here's what we know about the company and its product development. Since the release of OpenAI's ChatGPT in late 2022, Chinese tech firms have been scrambling to create their own chatbots powered by artificial intelligence. DeepSeek says 2 of its models have been showered with praise by Silicon Valley executives and US tech company engineers and are on par with OpenAI and Meta's most advanced models. It also says that one of them is 20 to 50 times cheaper to use than an OpenAI model, depending on the task. One technology CEO told CNBC he thinks DeepSeek is using Nvidia chips which are banned from being sold to Chinese companies. DeepSeek did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the allegation. The company is a Hangzhou-based startup whose controlling shareholder is Liang Wenfeng, co-founder of quantitative hedge fund High Flyer, based on Chinese corporate records. It is unclear how much High Flyer has invested in DeepSeek. The 2 companies have offices in the same building, and High Flyer owns patents related to chip clusters used to train AI models, according to Chinese corporate records. DeepSeek's success has already been noticed in China's top political circles. Last week, on the day DeepSeek released a new product to the public, company founder Liang attended a closed-door symposium hosted by Chinese Premier Li Qiang, according to state news agency Xinhua. Liang's presence at the gathering is potentially a sign that DeepSeek's success could be important to Beijing's policy goal of overcoming Washington's export controls and achieving self-sufficiency in strategic industries like AI. Chinese startup DeepSeek has roiled global stock markets with the...
So that was a little summary there from Reuters. Let's see here. Hang on a second here. And I wanted to mention, and we heard that the DeepSeek claims they claim that their model is way less cheaper to develop and run. What was the claim there in the article? It said the DeepSeek R1 model released last week is 20 to 50 times cheaper to use than OpenAI O1 model, depending on the task, according to a post on DeepSeek's official WeChat account. Now, if it's really a lot cheaper to run and to make and to develop, they can charge way less. If OpenAI is charging paying users a certain high price to use a ChatGPT, well, if there's a competitor, DeepSeek, who can charge way less, that's not going to be good for OpenAI's business because people will just use DeepSeek instead if it's way cheaper to use. So what has to happen? Well, then OpenAI they'll have to lower their prices to be competitive. So that's just a basic idea of one way in which this could affect the profits of these AI companies is if this stuff is way cheaper to develop and to run for other companies, to be competitive, these companies are going to have to lower their prices. So it could really hurt the profitability. Hang I wanted to pull up here. There was a good article I saw earlier that I'm going to mention here. Papa One says we'll all be speaking Chinese soon. Sean C says cheaper is good. Groboclone says it's already the case. The DeepSeek API is available and way cheaper. Jake's Online says, how did they get the Nvidia GPUs? Mike Olszewski thinks it will be banned in the USA. Bob P says, I'm not giving Chinese Communist Party any business. Chaz says, we'll have ChatGPT and OpenAI copying them soon. The Economist had an article today, DeepSeek sends a shockwave through markets. I wanted to mention a couple pieces of analysis they gave. Let me just check something here. I haven't even checked the news for a few minutes. Just want to make sure I don't have any other. Big updates here. You can reach me on X, by the way, at Lookner. PJ Bachman, our viewer, sent me a post from somebody who appeared to be concerned about the information that DeepSeek would collect and that would possibly make available to the Chinese government. Don Coe writes in, will the recent $500 billion, up to $500 billion AI infrastructure investment announced at the White House with 3 CEOs standing silently behind the President Trump be totally rethought and recalculated now? That's a good question. Will these tech companies want to spend up to $500 billion on AI data centers if, for example, they can't charge as much for their AI services? So I don't know if that investment that was being touted by Trump with the AI industry leaders, the chairman of SoftBank, Sam Altman was there also, OpenAI head, and also Larry Ellison of Oracle. Is this going to impact that investment, that planned investment? It's a good question. I don't know. Speaking of SoftBank, by the way, it went down about, I think, where is it? One of the articles said SoftBank dropped about 8%. Oh, is it open again? It's traded in Japan, I believe. SoftBank. Yes. So I think this is the right one. So this was yesterday. And it went down from here to here. And I think it's down again today. Is that? I believe this is market open. I believe this is SoftBank stock in Japan today, which is down 4.71%. Because that's the Japanese market. Hang on. Yeah, you can see yesterday on Monday, Japan SoftBank lost 8.3%. That stock had gone up. It lost 8.3% to pull closer to where it was before, leaping on an announcement trumpeted by the White House that it was joining a partnership to invest up to $500 billion in AI infrastructure. So that stock lost 8.3% on Monday. And if I have it right, if I'm looking at the right thing, it is down about over 4% today. But I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. So I'm a little confused on that. Don't quote me on today. But what I can tell you is that yesterday it went down 8.3%. And CNBC says stock says it's down 4.71%. Anyways, today. Okay, so I wanted to mention the Economist article. So real quick, I just want to mention a couple things that the Economist mentioned about the situation. They have an article called "DeepSeek Sends a Shockwave Through Markets." If you want to go over to the Economist and look it up, that's not this article; it's a different article. I'm not going to read the whole article. I'll just tell you a couple things the Economist said about this. The Economist says that euphoria over AI has turned into a panic. Share prices of companies like Alphabet, Amazon, and Microsoft have dropped. And they say the immediate cause of investor panic is DeepSeek, an AI startup in China whose innovative techniques have allowed DeepSeek to train AI models that perform about as well as the most sophisticated Western models with only a fraction of the computer power and so a fraction of the cost. Again, DeepSeek performs just as well, basically, while using only a fraction of the computer power, meaning they're buying a lot less hardware. Hardware companies, not good for them, and a fraction of the cost, so they can charge less. Let's see. Also, the Economist points out that American tech giants have been splurging expenses on AI infrastructure. The combined spending by Meta, last year, the combined spending on data centers for AI data centers by Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, and Alphabet last year was $180 billion. Okay? Microsoft already said earlier this month it was going to spend $80 billion this year on AI infrastructure. Meta said it's going to spend $65 billion on AI infrastructure this year. Are they still going to spend it? I don't know. And here, this is key analysis here from The Economist. They say, if high-performing models can be trained with less computing power, all that investment may prove excessive. Shareholders in cloud computing giants may now be wondering what will become of the investments made to date. Also, they say even more worrying is what all this might mean for Nvidia and other companies supplying data center equipment, as well as companies that provide energy that fuels this AI infrastructure, for example, these data centers. Oh, they talked about Siemens Energy, which makes electrical equipment. Look what happened to Siemens Energy yesterday. Siemens Energy was down about 20%. So, and its market cap is $38 billion. So what did it lose? Like roughly $10 billion off its market cap? That's one of them. And then also down this was today on Monday, Cameco, which makes uranium used for nuclear power. They were down 15% on Monday. Okay. Also, The Economist says that private companies like OpenAI and Anthropic, these private AI companies, might find it harder to raise money now that DeepSeek has shown you can do more with less. Very interesting. The Economist also points out that that while DeepSeek seems to show that training a model may be cheaper than thought, the type of models being used, called reasoning models, that are being developed use more computing power to actually run. So it's unclear whether the advances of DeepSeek means that less computing power overall is going to be used in the AI industry. Also, I'm not going to read the whole article here, but some on Wall Street, The Economist says that if you have cheaper to train AI models, maybe that means companies will use AI more. But anyways, so that was interesting. If you want to see the whole article, you can go to DeepSeek Sends a Shockwave Through the Markets by The Economist. Kyle Rogers says, you got to admit it's very impressive, but I don't trust it one bit. All right, we'll take a few more comments here. Four Eyes says, I am short the stock market. Formula One says, Nvidia is going to be very interested in the gaming market again. Again, AP says, part of what's worrying some U.S. tech industry observers is the idea that a Chinese startup has caught up with the American companies, AI companies, at the forefront of generative AI at a fraction of the cost. That, if true, calls into question the huge amounts of money U.S. tech companies say they plan to spend on the data centers and computer chips needed to power further AI advancements. But hype and misconceptions about DeepSeek's technological advancements also sowed confusion. Oh, the Sputnik backdrop. Look, behind the drama over DeepSeek's technical capabilities is a debate within the U.S. over how to best compete with China on AI. DeepSeek R1 is AI's Sputnik moment, said venture capitalist Mark Andreessen on X, referencing the 1957 satellite launch that set off a Cold War space exploration race between the Soviet Union and the U.S. Chris N says the robots are coming. Hamba Semesta says it's scary. Dabo says no one is talking about the obvious timing. What do you mean by this? By the way, Trump today said DeepSeek's breakthrough was good because you don't have to spend this much money. Which is interesting because a few days ago he was with AI industry leaders touting a huge up to $500 billion investment in U.S. AI data centers. Speaking Monday to House Republicans in Miami, President Trump called the DeepSeek news positive if it's accurate because you won't be spending as much and you'll get the same result. He called the development a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser-focused on competing to win. See, DeepSeek's progress on AI without the same amount of spending could possibly undermine the potentially $500 billion investment in AI by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank that Trump touted at the White House. Luke Patterson says, hold and buy the dip while you can. Did Elon Musk post about this? I don't know if he posted about this today. I didn't see it, but that doesn't mean he didn't. Galan says, your money goes farther with the new tech. Elon Musk reposted Jack Dorsey of X, formerly of Twitter, Jack Dorsey on asked, formerly the head of Twitter, I believe, who said open source everything. CivLab thinks it means the other companies were overcharging like they do. All right. I just think it's such a fascinating topic. Our viewer P14Y3Ron3 says, not good for Nvidia. By the way, Politico reports that Trump administration orders sweeping freeze of all federal aid. Oh, Politico, we have a new story. Politico says that Trump's budget office ordered an expansive freeze of all federal financial assistance in a move that could halt payments within days to states and U.S. households that receive assistance like SNAP food aid. That is from Politico. I just saw that. I'll have to look at that when I get off the air. They had that article posted at 9:36 p.m. I'm going to post a link to that article on my X account. All right. By the way, thanks to Drop Barracuda, who says the irony that artificial intelligence is now replacing artificial intelligence faster than it will replace humans is hilarious. That's what Drop Barracuda says. Who says, Drop Barracuda says it may be free to use, however, things built out of it can be taxed and tariffed heavily if deemed harmful to the U.S. economy. That's also from Drop Barracuda. Thank you, Drop Barracuda. Yeah, I have to read about that aid story. If it's big enough, we'll do a stream on it. But I have to read about it when we get off the air. All right, let me start. I'm going to start wrapping up this stream. But certainly, this is something to keep an eye on. This whole story, this could be extremely disruptive to the biggest companies in the world economy and the biggest U.S. companies. So I appreciate people writing in and sending their comments, and certainly something to keep an eye on. If you want to try it, by the way, go to DeepSeek. You can find there's an app on the App Store on Apple and Google Play on Android. You can go to DeepSeek on the web and find it there, and you can try it out. All right. Peaks and Pokes says, sure, I'm going to install a Chinese app. You don't have to. That's up to you. Gary Patey says, stop promoting this garbage. That's what Gary says. I was just telling people, if you want to try it, we've been talking about it, you can try it. No one's paying me to say that. This is not a sponsored broadcast. By the way, our viewer, Naz Kamain, says, I wonder how much money DeepSeek made shorting Nvidia. So I was glad that we could read a bunch of comments tonight. I'm trying to read a few more. Ann Spencer says, I think China should be commended for creating this technology at such a low cost. Melissa Terry says, I just asked it about what is healthy food, and I love how it thinks and explains to you why it thinks that way. Yeah, that is something you can see in DeepSeek. If you press the R1 button, it'll tell you how it's thinking. Hope Win says, some of the AI models are biased. I wonder if DeepSeek is biased too, or one of the few which is not. Some sensitive Chinese political topics it will not talk about. Melissa Terry says, I just asked it a medical question that took me so many days of researching before, and this information was altogether an easy peasy. I will say again that if you haven't used AI chatbots, you might want to try them. They can be very helpful. It's really incredible technology, whether it's ChatGPT or Google Gemini or DeepSeek or one of the other ones, Grok or whatever. Try them out. Try a few of them out. The ones I've tried, you can all try for free. So try them out. If you've never tried them, you really might be blown away by what they can do. Peachy Keen says, you can bet there are U.S. government concerns, not from individuals, but from nations hostile to the U.S., who will definitely use it to make huge leaps in their own technology, especially for military use. That's what Peachy Keen said. Cole K. Meister says, try Pair AI. It has all these models under one subscription, so you could test it yourself. It's also just a great tool for AI coding. That's what Cole K. Meister says. If anybody's interested in Pair AI. I've never tried it. I have no idea. That's what Cole K. Meister says. Pair AI, what is it? Has different models? Anyways, I'll have to look that up later. Trav says, Nvidia still rules the world. Old Lobstar says, I'm already running that soon-to-be illegal Chinese AI locally on my computer, so the government can never take it from my hands. Golf Wang Puck says, are we winning yet? KD Singh Armija says, their IMG model, Janus Pro, is also better than DALL-E. Whose image model? Oh, DeepSeek has an image model? I didn't even know this. By the way, yeah, just real quick, I just saw something about this right now. I got to wrap up the stream though, but I just saw a Reuters article that said something about Janus Pro, and that it's a DeepSeek. DeepSeek says its Janus Pro model beats rivals in image generation. Hey, that came out today. DeepSeek's new open source AI model surpassed some other models in benchmarks for image generation, the company says. I haven't even read about that today. Here, right here. DeepSeek says its Janus Pro AI model beats rivals in image generation. Anyways, I'll have to look into that later. Okay. Really appreciate you joining our live stream tonight. Thank you so much for being here. If there's huge news later tonight, we'll come back on the air. But I'm glad we got to cover something where we had a little more time to take some more viewer comments. I know I didn't get to them all, but it was good to have a little more space to talk to you guys about it. And I just think this is could be just an enormous story. Could affect stock market valuations in the long term. Could have geopolitical implications, military implications. So all kinds of things going on with this. All right, subscribe and follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda here. And turn on notifications. I never know when big news is going to happen. So turn on notifications so you know when we're going live. We have a free notification system. It works awesome. It's the best way to find out when we're going live. We do it through Discord. You sign up once for free. Then you get sent a notification every time we go live. The mods will post the link to sign up for the free notifications in the chat. And you can also find that link in the description of this broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. I will post updates about this and other stories, as I do, on my X account, which is @Lookner on X. You can follow me there for breaking news updates when we're not on the air, @Lookner on X. I will post a link to that in the chat. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in for this story. I know it's kind of a niche story. Maybe it's a little technical, a little complex. I appreciate people tuning in, and I really appreciate people participating in the discussion too. Thanks also for our moderators. You guys are awesome. We could not have our chat rooms without the moderators. They're the best. Cynthia Moon over there right now on YouTube. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for being there. Linda Belk and Larry on X. Also on Twitch. David Green, Good Luck Doc, Mark HNC, Surly Dev, and on Facebook, Kay Lowry, Body, Margaret Riley, Paul Anderson. Thanks so much for being there. Thanks also to for everybody who donated. That's super nice of you guys. Really appreciate that. So kind of you. Your support is what keeps this channel on the air. So thank you for donating. If you ever want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. And let's see, what else do I want to mention? We do have a chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not live. It's on Discord. It's free. A lot of our viewers like doing the chat. Check out the chat if you want. The link is the same as the link to sign up for the free notifications. You can check it out there. And big thanks to our Discord mods, too, for all you do. Thank you to Discord mods. I would also suggest, if you want to keep up with the channel, follow us on X, @AgendaFreeTV on X. I always post there when we're going live, and I post updates about the channel there sometimes, @AgendaFreeTV, on X. And if you watch on YouTube, I would suggest turn the YouTube notifications on, guys. If you want to, that will help you figure out when we're live as well. And if you want to do that, turn the YouTube notifications on. What you got to do, you go to us on YouTube and you subscribe. And after you subscribe, you got to click the notifications bell, and then you choose all notifications. So for your YouTube subscriber, make sure you got the bell checked and all notifications chosen. I also want to say thanks to our Facebook subscribers for supporting the channel. Thank you. Like Robert Rial II and Eve Richards and Lou Green, Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body. I know we got some other subscribers over there tonight. Iva Lynn Berry Speedell, thanks for subscribing. Over there, Michael Clayton, thanks for subscribing. All of our Facebook subscribers, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Also, our Twitch subscribers, thank you. Oh, thanks Notorious Rob for your support, and also Koba S over on Twitch. Thank you. Also EJ Rod 31 for subscribing, and Koba S, thank you for subscribing. That's really nice of you. And Whiskey Pack subscribed. And Risen One Son. Also, Tatsiki, thanks for subscribing. Aaron Weirdo, Wall Street, and Shaggy as well. Billy Joe, Device X, thanks for subscribing. Gina Pina, Jazzy Renee, all of our other subscribers over there on Twitch, thank you so much. Geeg. And over on YouTube, hey, April Coco was there. Good to see you, April Coco. Glad you liked the stream, April Coco. Thanks for being a member. And thanks to all of our YouTube members, Jimmy ZNJ, TJ Adams, Eric Johnson, Captain Jerry Donnelly, UV Lightning, Jimmy, The Lucky Minute, Brian Beelman, Evelyn in Maine, Barry, Dr. McRib, My Miracle Mama. Just to name, we're going to name some more. Will we see these big tech stocks in the U.S. start dropping because AI is seen as not as profitable as was originally thought? It's a big question. We'll have to see what happens in the coming weeks, months, whatever. Lachlan Cosgrove, thanks for being a member. Megatron, Loki 1988, Ben C. Evelyn in Maine, Sea Chase. Sorry if I repeat some of these. Thanks for being members. My Miracle Mama, Fossey, Chris N, Fred E, Walkie Talkie, Barry, Sylvia, Sivlap, Walter Sheets, Dean R, Crispy, Punchgut, Raina Hood, Faux ARC, Shaft, Jay Hitchcock, all of our YouTube members, thank you. Barry, JT Cooper, Electric Head Gino. Electric Head Gino says, some will fail. It's part of the game. And all of our other members, all of our other viewers too, really appreciate everybody tuning in. Gatecrashers thinks DeepSeek is the GOAT. Calm Before Sormer says, competition is always good no matter what team you think you are. People always forget that. Jim Sock says, make OpenAI great again. Thanks also to Artist Caverlin. I posted the link to the Politico article on my X account. You can see it there. If you just go to Politico.com, I think it's probably on the front page of Politico.com right now. Yeah, it's right there. If you go to Politico.com, you will find the article too. Trump administration orders sweeping freeze of federal aid. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you. By the way, Roberto Juarez says, this changes nothing. You really believe, Roberto says, they achieved all of what they're saying with only $6 million? Jack says, I'm unable to access DeepSeek, not sending access email. They said they've had some issues with registration tonight. I believe if you use it for the first time, you can just sign in with Google or Apple if you want to do it that way. But they did say that they were having some issues with registrations tonight. Yeah, the message on their site says, oh, it's not, I'm already signed in. But if you go to like DeepSeek status, DeepSeek service status, it says, due to large-scale malicious attacks on DeepSeek services, we are temporarily limiting registrations to ensure continued service. You can go to DeepSeek status.deepseek.com for those updates. All right, guys, that is it. We are wrapping up this live stream, but I really appreciate you guys being here, and we will keep an eye on this story. I think it's super interesting, and we will cover other big news as well. Oh, and also, I am planning on covering, for those still watching, I am planning on covering the Senate hearings. I think it is Wednesday, Thursday. What day is today? Monday? I think it's Wednesday, Thursday. I think Wednesday is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., his hearing at 10 a.m. Then Thursday we have confirmation hearings for Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, there's an RFK Jr. one on Thursday as well. And there's Tulsi Gabbard. And I think there's also Kash Patel on Thursday as well. So we'll be covering that too, if I have that right. Did they move it? No, that's Thursday. Okay. So keep an eye out for that. All right. That is it for now. Thank you so much for watching our live stream on the DeepSeek the DeepSeek spurred tech sell-off. That is it for now, and we will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.